Which brand has lost you as a customer? Ticketmaster. 0.00034 seconds after tickets go on sale. Sold out for all but cosmically afar seats, but their subsidiary StubHub has them for 400% more, but you need to pay an oxygen fee, electricity fee, left turning fee, reach around fee before the fee to disclose fees. At least 50 shows that I've declined to go when I see that loathsome logo. Never ever going to pay them a dime. Probably a fee for that too. Edit. Thank you gold sender. No fee on that and appreciated. Edit note. Okay. StubHub isn't a subsidiary of Ticket Scamster, but they're a parasitic part of the problem of bogarting all the prime tickets for gen public. Ooh oh yeah. Frick Ticket Bastard and every single one of their fees and tactics and monopolizing bulls. Bank of America. Their ATM was down, so I had to go in and deposit my check. Paid all of my bills and had pretty much no money. This was during college, and they hit me with a $10 service fee which overdrew my account. And then they charged me a $35 overdraft fee. So, $45 I didn't have because their machine was down. The person I talked to on the phone was a complete dong, and I decided to get rid of my account right then and there. He then gave me an attitude about cancelling. Frick that guy and frick Bank of America. Movistar. Once they downgraded my phone on accident and later were unable to undo the downgrade because they can't replace a phone by another model, and kept me waiting for 2 months until I said frick it and bought another phone. Bank of America. Finally quit them after being nickel and dimed. Continuous $12 to $35 fees for 20 years. Much happier with a financial institute that is both cheaper for me and ethically less crappy. Skullcandy. Their decent headphones are insanely overpriced, and their cheap earbuds came apart in my ear and I had to go to the med center to have it all removed. Netgear. Buy one of their top-end routers, and when you need to update firmware, their automatic process corrupts on download ridiculously often, thus completely bricking it. Rather than fix it or offer to replace or anything, they just say, oh, you should have done it manually because that happens a lot. WTF kind of response is that? Ridiculous. That's actually a common issue with business industrial routers as well. That's also why many of the business industrial routers have primary and secondary boot partitions, which are typically selectable at boot. American Airlines. The explanation has been delayed for tomorrow or next year. IDK or fricking care. Victoria's Secret. In my 20s everything I owned was from Versus. Over time I realized the quality was declining and the prices were absurd. I would have reactions to whatever they treated the fabric with, and that was the last straw. I stopped buying from them. I have yoga pants in my closet nearly 10 years old from Versus that are barely showing wear. Meanwhile the last 3 times I've been there I've worn my things out in less than a year. The quality has declined so much more than any other brand I've owned. Progressive. A lawnmower hit my parked car during work last year and it was terrible dealing with Progressive. The claims agent I got stopped communicating with me after a certain point, and I ended up having to hound the lawn mowing company's owner to pay for my car's repairs. Spectrum. Worst customer service with a constant rising bill. Expedia. God help you if they ever make a mistake on your booking. Their entire customer service infrastructure is designed to stonewall and frustrate you until you give up, even when the problem is clearly their fault. Oh gosh yes. We had so many bookings with Expedia that weren't actually booked and you only know once you're there. That one time I pushed them and they did an upgrade for messing up, but seriously I'd much rather have my vacations go smoothly than get an upgrade. We actually lost a couple hours every time it happened. Easily 3-4 times, and won't use Expedia anymore. Exxon still hasn't cleaned up Alaska after the oil spill. 30 years later. Wells Fargo. Our first mortgage was through them. After a couple years I get a call on the 2nd of the month telling me my mortgage was due. I told them I had until the 15th. They told me that was a grace period and their investors preferred I pay on the 1st. I told them I would make sure I never paid it before the 15th ever again, and their investors could eat a bag of dongs. We paid the mortgage at 4:30 in the afternoon on the 15th, or closest prior weekday, for the next 5 years at the local branch, which was a half mile from the house. Good times. Levi's. Since they went public, the quality has dropped considerably. I stopped buying Levi because their fit and sizing became incredibly inconsistent. There shouldn't be a 2 inches difference in front rise between two pairs of pants that are the same style and size. My place of work got rid of the employee discount and it was just demoralizing. So, not buying there, I guess? The last store I worked at didn't have an employee discount because we already offer the lowest prices, lol. Sprint. Recovering from surgery, sedated in a hospital, over 8 years ago. I had a pre-smartphone and no data plan. Accidentally pushed some sort of internet button that literally brought up Sprint's homepage. When the $450 bill arrived, they refused to budge. I was within the 45-day cancel for full refund stage. This was a 2-year contract for my family of 6. I returned the phones and cancelled the agreement, but they refused to waive the internet charge. After talking on the phone with an escalation call center for over 4 hours, I agreed to pay but vowed they would never see another penny from me. One of a very small number of companies with a lifetime blacklist. I've paid my replacement carrier nearly $20,000 in the meantime. If Sprint ever merges with my carrier, they've tried a few times now, I will leave. If I go to a prepaid network, I will research to make sure whatever I use is not a rented Sprint network. Not 1 penny. And I tell this story to anyone that will listen. Levi's. After they closed their last American factory in 2003 and moved entirely overseas to abuse the power of cheap labor, not only did their quality control decrease to nothing, but their prices skyrocketed. A pair of Levi's today are nothing like the Levi's 20 years ago. Cable TV. Commercials are just too frustrating to pay $120 a month for. Paying for cable used to mean you didn't get all the commercials from the open airwaves, then they just started double fricking us. Soon online content will be overwhelmed with ads too, and we will all have to go back to reading books. Super dry because my friend and I were once at a snowboarding festival and they were giving out free stuff like snow goggles etc. But their reps wouldn't give anything to us because we didn't fit the look. Might please you to know they filed for bankruptcy in Norway then. Wafer. I was looking for a sectional and found one at a good price. The product page was a sectional. When I added it to my basket, it was a sectional. When I paid for it, my invoice said sectional. My confirmation email said it was a sectional. When I went to track the package, it magically turned into an ottoman. I called them and they said that they have to hold on to my money until the product was sent back to them. I understand that policy. However, they were the ones that messed up. They requested that I take a day off of work to accept the package, so there's more money gone. They also didn't honor the sectional price as the sale was over when I found out about the issue. This is the only time I ordered anything from them. Wells Fargo. They have annual scandals where they frick over their customers. I've refused several lower interest rate mortgages from them by telling my broker that they're pieces of crap and to exclude any offer they make, regardless of how attractive it is. Jiffy Lube. Dudes punctured my oil filter when they changed it, eventually ran out of oil like 2 weeks later and made me drag their butt through claims court to pay for repair. They did an oil change on my friend's car, but didn't put new oil in her car. Our local McDonald's has lost my father as a customer, about 6 different times. Maybe they should have put a bell on your dad so they'd stop losing him. Radio Shack. Circuit City. Kat Von D. DirectV is getting close. I like having DirectV. I especially liked how low my bill was for the last year. I got lucky and I know this. Well, time came where this ran out, and I called to negotiate more deals. For months now, I have been told to call back in a couple weeks to see if anything else exists. The last 3 calls ended with the representative telling me my bill was going to be a certain price moving forward. However, I am on bill number 3 since then, with the price hardly changing. I used to rave about their loyalty department, but it for sure is slipping lately. Probably too late to this thread and nobody will see it, but Eb stayed at a place and found fleas within 20 minutes of arriving. Told the owner of the house and he told us in writing he was going to give us a refund. We returned the keys to him. He called later and said he was no longer going to give us a refund. Having already gotten a hotel and not wanting to go back to a potentially angry person in their home, we went to support. Support sided with the owner of the house despite the written refund offer. I provided a timeline of events, Google Maps data, a photo of a flea on my sock and later several photos of flea bites. They said that they could not determine that the fleas came from that house. Screenshots of the refund offer. And there was even a group of people that stayed 2 days after us that left a review saying they also found pests in the house. And the house owner then cancelled every booking after that. Even with all of that evidence, they still sided with the owner. Paid $450 for keys to a place for an hour or less. It is now in my mind an unreliable company and I'll pay extra for a hotel just for peace of mind knowing it will at least meet a minimum cleanliness. If it makes you feel any better, I stayed at a Hilton Garden in New York City that had bed bugs and the mother suckers wouldn't refund me either. I left them a negative review on TripAdvisor and I have no idea how they were able to delete that review. KFC after I got food poisoning so bad that I legit thought I was going to die. KFC I've noticed has no widespread quality standards. You go to one it's great, you go to another across town it's complete crap. Tim Hortons. It is so freaking gross now. Stale donuts, nasty coffee and stupid menu ad changes every couple months. I am not kidding. They literally have a hot dog breakfast sandwich. They need to go back to the menu like 15 years ago. I know they're bought out by the Burger King company and start making things in-house again. They jumped on the Beyond Meat burger trend a couple months ago. But why would you buy a burger at Tim Hortons of all places when you could go to a burger place to get one fresh? They jump on a vegan veg meat trend but blatantly ignore people asking for dairy-free options on social media. Or they tell them to ask for it at their local location which goes nowhere. Of course they try to blame millennials. But I think every generation is sick of the crappy quality now. Basically them being bought out ruined them. As a Canadian, it breaks my freaking heart that I have to agree with this. Bookstore culture. I live in Bosnia, but I'm Croatian. One time when I came I asked for a Bilježnica notebook in Croatian. The register lady said sorry, we don't have Bilježnicas but we have sveskas. Sveska is the Serbian word for notebook. She also said it in a really condescending way. My dad being the hardcore Croat that he is got angry and we left the store. The reason he got angry is cause she was correcting me for speaking my language. Their products were actually good, but my dad won't let me go anymore. Victoria's Secret. They use a lot of cheap labor. Uber Eats. Ordered from a restaurant pretty close from where I live. Paid for the meal and an hour later was told it would not be delivered because it was out of their area of reach. Nothing indicated to me beforehand that they couldn't deliver here, and they said my money wouldn't be given back to me cause the food was already made. Emailed Uber multiple times, only to be answered with pre-made messages of bots. Honestly, frick them so fricking much. North Face. Used to be pricey gear that held up, now it's just pricey gear that falls apart. Allstate Insurance. I live in the forest in the southwest US. I had my insurance through Allstate. They sent someone out to take pictures of my home, then sent me a letter saying I needed to make changes and to reach out to my agent. So I did, and the agent told me that I had too much brush near my home. So I asked if they could define brush, and they said no. I asked if they could use the pictures they took and say this is unacceptable, and they said no. They sent me a letter that I didn't fully understand, thinking they wanted 100-foot clearing around my home, which was unacceptable to me. They wouldn't clarify what they wanted and just told me to fix it to their satisfaction or they wouldn't renew the policy. I am no longer an Allstate customer. I never made a claim on my homeowner's insurance. I had one claim on my wife's car when the wind blew the door too far open. But other than that, no claims. 15 years of premiums for the house, 3 cars and a motorcycle plus life insurance. It all went away because they couldn't define what they needed. Any brand that excessively advertises with 30-second unskippable ads has made me solemnly vow to never buy that product. Also those awful online AskReddit make it to level 10 ads, I absolutely hate those. Nestle. Frick those African children poisoning, orangutan home destroying pieces of oligarchic filth. Don't forget stealing enormous water sources from my drought-ridden state, while the rest of us schmucks have to pay out the wazoo and get fined for watering our lawn more than twice a week. Holly Davidson went from a blue-collar American brand to the most expensive brand on the market, appealing to an entirely different crowd, riding on their heritage and making entirely inferior products to the metric brands. Guys, if you ride bikes, vote with your dollars. HD isn't going to get better more affordable if you buy their shitty no matter the price. The best thing that can happen to that brand would to force them to become competitive again. Facebook for sure. I'm trying to avoid anything Google recently after I ran into an incident where someone was using my card fraudulently on one of their Google Play services and I received zero help. I spent days working with their customer service people trying to get it resolved. I eventually got an email back from their fraud department saying that they couldn't help me get a refund based on their policies. I looked into their policies and I was entitled to a refund under their own policies. Called them again to explain this fact and they fed me some more BS about how it was impossible for them to prove I am the person I say I am, even with all of my personal information. They didn't explain any of this in the email they sent. They protected the person using my card fraudulently. Frick Google. Got it fixed through my bank in 10 minutes and I felt stupid for even wasting my time with their customer service that is designed to make you give up on your inquiry. I felt stupid for even wasting my time with their customer service that is designed to make you give up on your inquiry. I feel like this is just about every large corporation. They've got no accountability. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.